All right, it's season 2 on the DFL before DNF podcast. I am super excited today to be talking with Brice Partouche. He is the founder of Satisfy, but as I've followed him and what he's up to, I think it's just interesting to. This will make sense to Brice as I start to say it. I'm going to say a little bit about who I am, and it just is. It's quite interesting. I grew up a skateboarding punk rock kid, though I was in West Texas, who ended up trying to become a doctor. I went pre-med and I wanted to become a doctor. So I was touring in punk bands around America, tried to become a doctor, and then got this sort of itch to play more music. So I was playing more music. And then I got into entrepreneurship and started building all sorts of different companies. And for the most part, my life was in food and beverage, building, opened 7 coffee shops in Utah, and then a couple bars, a couple restaurants. Was very much a food and beverage entrepreneur. And then did a handful of other things, but really my passion and love in life has always been in running. And so then I started a running related company. And from the best I can tell, Brice, isn't that similar? Is that similar to you? You were a punk rock kid, skateboarding. You wanted to be a doctor at one point. How am I doing on your story? Am I close?
That's crazy. I didn't know about your background.
Yeah.
That's crazy because, yeah, I grew up, playing in punk rock bands and trying to tour in
Yeah.
Europe. And I was also, my dream as a kid was to become like a heart surgeon.
Yeah.
Um,
Mine was to be
and
a brain surgeon, and it makes no sense other than I hear that surgeons generally are a little bit more entrepreneurial than say someone like a physician who's not a surgeon. But it's just a funny connection.
Yeah, that's very funny. But yeah, of course, I failed. I failed my my medical school. It's not that I failed. I stopped because the person you want to be when you're 10 or 11 is not the same. As a teenager,
Yeah.
I discovered like punk rock
Yeah.
and skateboarding, and you become someone else. But for some reason, in your somewhere in your mind you're like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, and you continue in that direction, but
Yeah.
you're not the same person.
Right.
Yeah, then I started this. I mean, at the time, I had some few experiences with entrepreneur ventures, and
Uh-huh.
I did a couple of like skateboard brands, for my friends. So, I was like 15 and 16, like
Nice.
printing like Screen Stars t-shirts, and you do like your little brand for your friends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then later on, I created this brand called April 77. It was like a
Okay.
jeans company, like a jeans brand. And
Okay.
I was obsessed with like the Ramones and the punk rock again, and
Yeah.
so I was making basically like skinny jeans. But the brand became quite like popular and quite big actually.
Okay.
And until 2000, like during almost like, I don't know, 18 years, I've been doing this like brand. But then I've never been like I mean, I grew up in the mountains in Grenoble, so like
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, yeah. So you know, city in the south east of France, surrounded by mountains, 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes away from like ski resorts. So I grew up like snowboarding and before skiing, and
Yeah.
so outdoors lifestyle has always been around me, but I'd never like be like a climber or like a trail runner. Like I was not interested in physical activities. Like
Yeah.
skateboarding and snowboarding were not really like physical
Yeah.
activities
You
for
don't you
us. It
don't
was
think of
more
it
like,
that
yeah,
way. Yeah.
exactly. It was more like a way to move in the city, or like like a trip with your friends.
Yeah.
Um, but then like late in my life, so I'm 47 now, and I started to run about like 13 years ago. So I was like, 34 or something. And so I started to run quite late in my life.
Yeah,
And
me too.
yeah, but I became quickly like super obsessed
Yeah,
with running.
yeah,
And that's a life change. I mean, when you start to run, I mean, I'm not the only one who says that, and I
yeah,
don't want to sound like I don't know, but like like but like yeah, it really changed my life, and
yeah,
I think this power we have as human being, like we can become whatever we want to be. That's pretty
yeah,
much amazing. Like this
yeah,
capacity we have to hack our brain to become someone else. That's quite amazing. And this is what happened
yeah.
with running. So I became
Mm.
obsessed with running,
Hmm.
and coming from skateboarding, like I was pretty a bit lost when it comes to like running culture.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that there was no culture into running, but the culture was. I mean, they didn't talk to me like you had like five big like mass market brands that share the whole market, and
yeah,
it's all about like performance. And when you grew
yep.
up like skateboarding, you want more than that. You want more than just like
Perform. Yeah,
polyester products. You want
yeah,
like you want culture, you want music, you want
yeah, yep.
like a trip with your friends, and
100%. Yep.
so my idea was like, oh wow, I mean, I love running, but I really hate everything around running. It's not that I hate; it's a bit strong, but it's mostly that I couldn't connect. There was no.
That's what I was gonna. That's gonna be my word. It's a lot of running culture is
Yeah,
disconnected from the actual reality of what running is.
exactly. There was no like, cool magazine or like, I don't know,
Yep.
no music. Like, if you're a
Yeah.
skateboarder, like you grew up like with hip hop or punk rock, that's pretty, clear,
Right.
with running, it's like whatever, and, and it's like, like this stupid music they play at the start of the race. Or it's just like, I don't know, like it was not me. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm going to make a skateboard brand for runners. This is like, it
I
was
love
my
it.
first thought,
Yeah.
and,
Yep.
and of course, like I wanted, I mean, with my background in the fashion industry, I wanted to make like a premium brand, brand with like
Yep.
amazing fabrics,
Yeah. Yep.
a sustainable brand,
Yep.
a brand about like the product will be like as performance, like as much bring as much performance as I could bring, also cultural elements. Like I like to add like cultural value to the products, and
Yes.
cultural value could be some references to like for example tie dye. Like it's
Yeah.
culture, or
Yeah.
like this like t-shirt I'm wearing right now with the holes, like the
Yes.
vintage distressed
Yes.
t-shirt with like the
Yeah.
band's tee and stuff like this.
Yep. When I was a
My
punk
idea
rock
was like
kid, oh, I was just gonna. When I was a punk
no,
rock kid,
yeah,
like we would do studded belts. Like we'd make our own
yeah,
studded belts, and
yeah,
then the holes that would wear in it look like the holes that you do. It's like from skateboarding, and then you fall, and then your shirt scrapes along the concrete underneath your studs, and you're
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
ripping your clothes. That's what that made me think of.
Exactly. I totally, totally remember this era of skateboarding with like
Yeah.
studded belts and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so yeah, uh, uh, it was important to me to bring these cultural elements to the product,
Yeah.
and I like this analogy with with like a like a mixer, like a table, like a music. How do you call it? Like a like a yeah a mix table.
Okay. Yeah.
Where you can like push up the the volume, and like let's say like you have like the performance, the button of performance, and the button of like uh, culture or like
Yep. Yep.
yeah, and you push or I don't like to say style because it's not style, it's more like culture, you know, and you
Yeah.
push those two levels like as far as possible without having like the speakers like you know blowing up
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
or buzzing, you know.
Yeah.
So it's always like my work as a designer is you know always to find the right balance between
Yeah.
having like a very performance product, but also you need to connect with the product, and some people will connect
Yeah.
with you know I don't know the color or with you know the print or like the fabric,
Yeah.
you know I like this idea a lot.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's interesting about you, just hearing you talk, and what makes you unique, is that you know the product really well, and you know the branding really well. Like you know how to create lifestyle around. But especially unique is your ability, and it sounds like you did this with your jeans company. Like supply chain within clothing is not it's not easy. That's a skill in and of itself. So if you're obsessed with the product, the quality of it, and then also you know how to get it made at scale, and at the same time you can identify someone like Michael Versteeg as like a perfect like alignment for what you're trying to build and an embodiment of it, and then you're bringing these other great athletes that reflect it. I think that's something that's really interesting and unique about you, just from this short conversation that we've had. Do you resonate with that? Do you agree with that?
Well, no, well, yeah, thank you first, but yes, I mean,
Yeah.
this is my job. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, I mean, I don't necessarily think like this. Like, for me, it's very hard to, you know, to look at myself and to analyze what I'm doing. But
Yeah.
yes, I think a brand is not only the product. You have the product. Yeah, it's like a journey, and it's like how you connect along the journey. How do you connect with the community,
Yeah.
with your dream? Like a brand is basically like a dream, a product, and a community, and
Yeah.
of course there is also like all the processes and like the team you're building, and
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a journey, and it's hard, like the success to if you want to have a brand, you need to work like hard. It's like
Yeah.
it's not easy, like because if you have everything, if you have the product, the community, the dream, uh, it doesn't mean that it's going to work. Like and if
Yeah.
you need to work hard, and even with this, like maybe it will work. It's
Yeah.
it's very uh, it's very difficult.
Yeah. So help me, like if we back up a little bit to the start of it. Help me get the details right on this. I read somewhere that you started to really have the dream for this company, and I hate that I can't remember the name of the park. There's a beautiful park that's in Paris, that's in the northeast. It's an
Yes,
iconic just
Bois
what
de
is it?
Vincennes. Bois
Yes.
de
I mean,
Vincennes. Yes.
and I think it's from like, an American perspective, getting to go see that park. We stumbled upon it. We don't hear about it much, but I think it's the most beautiful park. And so
Yeah,
am
it's
I
beautiful.
correct in my learning that there's some part of Satisfy that started in that park with you, or the idea came to you there?
Yeah, exactly. Because I was running, almost every day in the morning there.
Uh-huh.
And first of all, like when I started to run, I couldn't understand why people would run with like in running clubs. Like the last thing I want to do is to run with 20 people I don't know.
Yes.
For me, running was the only moment of the day when I'm alone, and
Yeah.
it's a sacred moment, and you want to keep it for yourself, because the rest of the day, you have to give to people. It's like emails, meetings, calls, and
Yeah.
the idea of Satisfy uh, came during one of these runs, um, early morning, and like this like feeling, like this, like the runner's high or the flow or whatever, like
Yeah. Yeah.
this moment when your brain is floating, And I've been quite lucky because I experienced this moment a few times, and I'm like, "Oh, this is amazing, you know, when you just
Yeah.
when you do your first 20K, and you're like, it's just it's just amazing. It's
Yeah.
just like it's crazy, and just like this like euphoria and this amazing feeling, and when you get this to this moment, you basically you I mean, what I liked with this, I mean, the idea of satisfied came also with uh, this moment when you reach the high, because the idea was to make the clothes that will help you to reach that high. So basically, it means that okay, you
Uh,
shouldn't you shouldn't notice that you are wearing clothes, you know, because what you want is to you don't want any distraction. You just want
yeah.
to focus on your run and on your high. So the
Yeah.
first, like the main idea was to create the lightest product ever. No
Mm.
seams, no chafing, like like a whole system
Mm.
of like pocketing to carry like your keys. You don't want your keys to jingle together, for example.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
the,
Yeah.
the classic stuff, but that for me they were not really well done by other brands. But also, and again, like you can run with like whatever, of course, but this element of culture, like was terribly missing, and I feel
Yeah.
that if you feel like if you feel that you look great, you will perform better. I really believe in this, and
I do
and
too.
yeah, so and I think I like to say that our approach of performance is very romantic.
Yeah.
And so that was the main idea of Satisfy, like a
Yeah.
romantic approach of performance, premium products,
Yeah.
and rebranding the running culture.
Yeah. What I think is beautiful about what you've done, and I've spent a lot of time in France, and I've mentioned on this podcast that my family's moving to France. One of the things I love about what you've done is that you've embraced France into your branding, and what makes that especially unique is people have done that. Maybe not in ultra running. You're probably the first to do that, but you also have this interesting tie. And tell me if I'm wording it in a way that is good, or if you would reword it to the myth of the American West. I see there's a connection to like desert vibes. If nothing else, it's that your colors work, your materials, your colors work so well on the backdrop of the American West desert. And maybe that's just because that's where Michael Versteeg is, or Sarah. Anybody that you sponsor, they're there. But that romanticism, that relentless, uncompromising pursuit of quality, sacrificing revenue or sacrificing profit for quality, sacrificing profit for the spirit of what you're building. I feel like that is what makes you unique. How close is everything that I just said to what is in your mind and what you're
It's
thinking when you build
no,
it?
it's really well spotted actually, because I grew up like watching cowboy movies,
Yeah,
like Western movies with my
really.
dad. But my favorite movies were the European movies about Americana, and
Oh,
I always found the European approach uh, of like Americana much more like poetic and romantic than
mm,
when Hollywood was doing like cowboy movies. Like I
yeah,
prefer Sergio Leone over John Ford, basically. And I grew
okay,
up with like this idea of like American, like a romanticized. I don't know how do you say
romanticize.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
romanticized
romanticize.
idea of Americana, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and this is very also very close to one of my favorite era of like movie makers are like the late 60s and, like the Nouvelle
Yeah.
Vague. Uh,
Yeah.
and they're really, I'm a big fan of this, like, like Easy Rider movie, or like
Yeah.
the Monty Hellman movies, like, Tulane Blacktop. And, like the way you
Yeah.
tell Americana through like road movies and through like, it's very contemplative and romantic. And so this artistic direction is really what I like.
Hmm.
And I feel that Satisfy could be like the missing link between, um, you know, you, like Europe and the US. Not only also, I mean, in terms of like visual, yes, but also in terms of product. I think that what we did is we got inspired by the trail running scene in the US, which is, I'm talking about products right now, which is
Yeah.
kind of like this idea of the desert bum, like you wear
Yes.
whatever, like the it's like
Yeah.
microverstic basically, like the
Yeah.
crop
The dirt
top and
bag.
the
Yep.
the dirt bag, yes, and the over performance, like Salomon, like all white lycra, Kilian Jornet, 2000
Yes.
2004,
I've joked about Killian Jornet's all white, whatever he wore, being so bold. He brings that to Western states in America in like 2009, and we didn't know
Yeah.
what to do with that.
Yeah. So, and I think, in terms of product, we are in between. Like, we play with those like references.
Yes.
So I think our approach is like Americana through the lens of Europe or France.
Yes.
We can say France.
Yep.
And this is my way of when I design, when I create. It's my way of
Yeah.
not working, but this is who I am basically.
Yeah. And some of the critiques that we hear about Satisfy is the price point. But before I
Yeah.
get your take on that, my observation on that. All right. So are you in the third arrondissement, or are you in the
Oh, no, we are in the 11th, which is very
you
close
are in
to
the 11th?
the
Yes.
third. Yeah, Biorepublique.
Yes. So if you walk out, by the way, what Bouillon Republique is one
Bouillon,
of my.
yeah. I never been
I
actually,
like that
but yes,
restaurant.
yeah,
It's a very affordable, really great food, but they it's not French because they're getting you in and out real quick. Anyway, so if you walk out your door, one of the ways that I tried to characterize it to my friends in America, what I love about France and why I want to move there and just be influenced by it for a year. It's hard to put into words, but in France, even the trash cans are well designed. So when you walk out on the street, you're probably used to it, but maybe you know what I'm talking about. You know those like thin wire trash cans that come around, and then there's like a green trash bag in the middle, and it's so worn down. What France is good at, because you're the most visited country in the world, is that your trash cans have to be able to withstand 90 million whatever visitors a year. But because the French culture also is that things would be beautiful. So French culture has to withstand an insane amount of wear and tear. And
I mean, yeah, we,
as it
yeah.
wears and tears, it becomes more beautiful. And I don't even like the bridges, the paint, the way the paint wears in Paris. I'm being a little bit romantic, but at the same time, it's so practical because it has to withstand an insane amount of wear and tear. And I think that that's why one of the reasons Satisfy. That's some of the Frenchness of Satisfy that you're bringing to America is also like this. Well, if you're going to get something that's going to be resilient and it's going to withstand 250 miles, it can't be cheap. Like if it's going to be able to do the job that you need it to do, it can't be cheap, especially if you're also trying to take care of your supply chain and have good people make it. This is my observation, and it's a bit romantic, but what do you think?
No, I mean, Paris. Like we live in a museum.
Yeah, you do.
It's and it's funny because me, like, I'm so happy when I go to the US because like I'm just tired of the museum.
Yeah, I believe it. Because you'll come to
But
the
yeah, we
desert
live.
of Arizona where you can also then spread out and it's actually
Yeah,
quiet and you can
exactly.
feel the sun on your body.
Exactly. Like I love Arizona, I love California, I love Utah. But yeah, I mean, Paris is a good. It's a good. I like to come back to Paris. I like to leave Paris, but I like also to come back to Paris.
Yeah.
So I can call Paris home. Uh, but yeah, to your point, I mean, uh, Paris, yeah, we invented, like luxury here. Like, we have
Yeah.
like LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Celine, Balenciaga. Like,
Hmm.
that's part of the culture.
Part of the culture. Yeah.
So if you do clothing, if you have like a brand, you are surrounded, especially in Paris, you are surrounded by talents and
Hmm.
by people who knows about like what is to who knows about like luxury and what it means. And
Yes.
even with like the whole like uh, industry, like the luxury industry, everything happens in Paris, in Milan also sometimes, but like it's Paris. And so it created like a culture. So luxury here in France is culture. uh,
Mm. Hmm.
in the US, there is no like luxury group. I mean, there are some brands like premium
Sure.
brands, but it's not
Yeah.
luxury. It's different. It's a bit different. So
Hmm.
what may be seen as luxury in the US, for example, like I've heard people saying that Lululemon is a luxury brand. But for us, Lululemon is not a luxury brand.
Right.
For us,
Right.
luxury is like Louis Vuitton and Celine.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
so so I think the perception also as a French person of what is luxury, like we set the bar very very high, and and I think Satisfy is I mean, if you compare to the mass market brands, I don't know if we are luxury, but yes, we are more expensive. But just because we are not mass market, like
Yeah.
the thing is, since like this industry has been ruled by mass market brands for like 40 years. So we are basically
Hmm.
the industry, the outdoors industry, is is it's like if it was the 1985 for fashion.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
it may, so before the 80s, like there was no like luxury, there was no Gucci, there was no Dolce Gabbana.
Mm.
So I think Satisfy just like, is paving the way for like a different a segment within the industry. But of course,
Yeah.
you can be luxury just claiming you are luxury.
That's right. Yeah.
And we're not saying we are luxury. People say that our prices are more expensive. Yes, but also, I mean, two things. Our prices are more expensive because the products are different. You can't
Yeah.
compare. It's like I don't know. It's like if you compare like two different brand of cars. Like I don't know if you
Yeah.
compare like I don't even know. I can't even
Like
name a car
yeah, like
brand.
A
But
Ford to a Porsche. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like it's not the same. Yeah, the Porsche is more expensive because it's not the same as a Ford. And
Right.
it's fine.
Yeah.
So same with brands, but
Mm.
also I think it's I don't know. I don't want to I don't want to shock but like I it's not normal to buy shorts for $50. If you buy your shorts $50, it means that your shorts have a have been made with like a terrible fabric
Mm.
in terrible conditions.
Yeah.
It's just pure math. Like today,
Yeah.
the cost of fabric is very expensive. The cost of
Mm.
like the making is very expensive.
Yeah.
Also at Satisfy, we develop everything in house. So we
Hmm.
have cost to cover because we have like pattern makers, we have like a prototypists, we have of course designers, we have product developers, pattern makers. I said it. So
And are they all in
uh,
Paris?
yes, in Paris, in this
Wow.
office
I mean,
where
that
I
is
am
a
right now.
from a business standpoint, by way of observation, that is quite a triumph, and also clearly a commitment to not just quality, but being because France has requirements on you as an employer, and you have to you're making Americans. We don't understand the commitment that you're making when you hire somebody.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because people in the US can get fired, and
you can get fired. French, you can't
in
get.
two.
They
Yeah,
could
yeah,
stay on the payroll for 12 months and not do something.
yeah,
If some, I mean, it's hard
yeah,
to explain, and I don't want to. I'm not talking disparagingly. What I'm trying to say is,
yeah,
you've really committed because
yeah.
you could have offshored your production, and it would have been a
Yes.
little bit easier for you to make changes. And so you're really having to be extremely intentional. And there's a practical element that things are more expensive because the way that you've committed to the humans that are also making your product.
Yes, but also because I'm obsessed with product and I want to control
Yeah.
everything,
Oh, so you can be
every
close to it.
stage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, for me, that's just one way to do this job. Like if you want to do like
Yeah.
the best technical products, you have to follow every stage of the making, from sketching to
Yeah.
prototyping to prototype zero and to the final products. And
Love that.
a lot of other brands are actually just sending to the factory, like in Asia, sending just
Yeah.
like specs, like tech packs. But we don't
Yeah.
do like this. I mean, I go to like fabric fair, like I handpick personally, like every fabric, or I develop with factories the fabrics. Everything is like, yeah. I mean, it's it's a lot of
Yeah.
work. It's like everything is bespoke, and
Yeah.
it makes different. In the end, the product is different, and I think this is what people are buying. You buy like a product, of course, and then of
Yeah.
course you buy like I always say that and we don't buy when you buy like you buy a brand, like when you, of course, the product is very important. So but this for me is incompressible. It's like the product is a product. It has to be performance and
Yeah.
great, of course.
Yeah.
But then you don't buy the product. You buy the idea of who you can become if you wear the product.
Yes. It's
And,
aspirational.
and exactly. And so we sell an identity. If you were satisfied,
Yes.
you're part of like a culture.
Yes.
And what's the value for that? And so there's many ways to understand and to see like pricing. Um, but I truly believe that what doesn't work is like a bad product and which is also expensive. This doesn't work. But like if you have a really good product, and if it's expensive, and if you feel great about like owning this product, not only because the product is great, but because also you will be part of like something bigger. Well, I
Yes.
think it's I mean I'm me the first. I'm very happy to spend money on something that I will know will support
Yeah.
brands I like, but also I will feel like part of something bigger. And
Yeah.
I think this has no value. Like I buy a lot. I'm obsessed with vintage, Bands tea, and
Yeah.
I can spend like $300 on a band tee, and like, yeah, it's just a cotton tee. Yeah, I know it's not, but you're not buying a cotton tee. You're buying like an original, like a Black
You're buying.
Sabbath
Yes.
T-shirt.
Yes.
It's a piece of it's a piece of like history. It's like
Yeah.
it's just it's culture, you know. So
Yeah.
that's different.
So building brands to the way that you're talking about can be expensive. Building the products, let's assume, let's for the sake of conversation, that you sell out of everything you create. You still have to have the money up front to make it and for payroll and all that sort of stuff. And so with your obsession over the product and wanting it to be great, and you're on site, you're doing quality control, you're making sure that nothing leaves. Do you have a partner in this that's like, hey, Brice, can you bring it down a notch? Because we've got to, for money purposes, we've got to do X, Y, Z. Do you have that? Or, I mean, I also know that as an entrepreneur, you can temper yourself as well and handle that without a partner like that. But have you been on running finances for the company while running product and building a brand?
Yeah, I'm a great leader. I'm a terrible manager. So like, hopefully,
Me too.
uh, no, fortunately, I have like a team of people I can trust
Great.
the who help me to navigate through like as you just mentioned, um, all these like topics like finance and cash flow management. Of course, like you need like you can do it on your own like for a little while, but then I want to focus on. So I'm the founder, the CEO, and the creative director. But at
Yeah.
some point, you need to pick. And I think my value is mostly on the creative side of things.
Yeah.
I have like a very precise like strategic and business vision. So once you have the vision, that's you need to find the right people to that will like transform your vision into like a proper like a business and a sustainable business. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about the team, of course, but like you need like the idea and the has to be you know you need to have like a vision like a vision, because so many brands have like great product, but then it's very
Yeah.
hard to also to manage business, because it's not again it's not only about the product, it's about
Yeah.
you know all the rest
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
One of the things that I love about your branding is, I mean, sometimes I think because I'm my college degree was in branding. Not that college degrees mean much, but that's just what the emphasis on. And so much of what I've been building about Borderlands is about the American West. And so I'm over here on this side, even though I'm not creating a tangible product, I'm building community. I'm looking at France to try and inform my American West ideals. You're in France, and you have sounds like your whole life been influenced by the American West. But then there's the mix of punk rock and skateboarding and all that. And I think you as a brand builder so clearly. I should say this before I go any further. I was going to do something with Red Eyes uh, by
Yeah.
the War on Drugs. I was trying to get a license for it, and then when your video was fantastic. My video guy would have done a great job as well, but I saw that and I was like, wow, that song, I love that song, and that is such a perfect embodiment of Americana, but still good rock and roll. It has some like, still has some punk rock stuff. And then your video of that dude run, I mean, it was just, so maybe I just wanted to say good job. And you were one step ahead because I love that song. Great
Thank you.
video.
Yeah, I'm a huge War on Drugs fan. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to follow them on a few dates over the summer, like in UK.
Are you?
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this band. Yes, it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's. I mean, this video was. It's like if I think I built Satisfy around the
Uh-huh.
idea of this video. Like
Interesting.
it has everything I like, and like first of all, like Matt, like our athlete is amazing, like great
Yeah.
runner,
Fast. Yeah.
yeah, fast, yeah, and and I don't know, it's like California, and
Yeah.
he's running with like a cowboy shirt, like a
So
uh,
good.
and with like this like anachronic. I mean, war on drugs are like so anachronic. It's
Oof.
like, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like that it's like Dire Straits, Bruce Springsteen type of music.
Yes.
It's like dad's rocks, and I love this. So and we did the video like horizontal, like, I mean, what the
I
fuck,
love
like,
that
for
too.
it's just, and it's a 5 minute video, so it's like
Yeah.
against every principle of like marketing
Yeah.
and whatever,
Yeah.
but the content was great, and uh, and a lot of people connected with this video. And again, you connect because of the music, or because
Yeah.
of the runner, or because of the style. There's always, I think, satisfy. Sometimes people think satisfy is a bit like it's very difficult to get into us, but I think that we always make sure that people can get into the brand through
Hmm.
different doors, and it could be
Yeah.
like the performance element, or the cultural element, or the place where we are sold, like there's always something that you
Yeah.
can connect, and I think this is very very important.
Yeah. Do you put the same level of energy into, you own a cafe, right? Obladi Cafe.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, are you branding that cafe like you are branding Satisfy running? Are you putting the same energy into that?
In the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
I have to say that today, I mean, today there's like a manager, and it's like it's rolling. But like, I wish I had more time to
Yeah.
focus a bit more on the coffee shop. But the coffee shop is
Yeah.
doing great. I think they
Yeah.
don't need me. But it's funny because I've launched the coffee shop with two other friends
Okay.
the exact same day I've launched Satisfy. So it was like in June 2015. And but yeah, I mean, like everything I do, I put like a lot of energy. I'm a very, yeah,
Yeah.
I get
Obsessive.
obsessed quite
Yeah.
easily, yeah,
Yeah.
with everything,
Yeah. I love when I think about the magazine that you put out, it reminds me of, my punk rock days. In America, we would have called them zines, like Zine, zines,
Yeah,
where you're just kind of
yeah,
like putting it together. Did you have
fanzines.
those in France?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Where,
was writing for fanzines when I was
okay.
younger,
Really?
and I was ordering from from the US. I was ordering also like Heart Attack and Ebullition fanzines, like hardcore and punk
Wow.
stuff
Yeah.
from the US. So like Maximum Rock and Roll and stuff like this. So yeah, I mean,
Oh
I
my
grew up
goodness.
with
I haven't
fanzines.
thought about Maximum Rock and Roll in forever. Yeah. That's a good comparison.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
what do you think is what's next for Satisfy? Where do you want to be? Are you taking it just one thing at a time, or are you like when you're a visionary? Are you thinking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road?
No, we need to think 5 years, ahead.
Yeah,
That's uh, that's important because in this industry, product we do, like, it takes so much time to develop. Um,
mm,
so we are constantly thinking about like what's next. Um, near future, we are launching the women's collection.
oh wow,
So
that's awesome.
that yeah, yeah, that's I mean, so far we've been we never really like advertised it as a menswear collection, or like a
Uh-huh.
men's driven, or men's not driven, sorry, men's focus
Yeah,
product, because the product is quite like a gender fluid. But of course, when it comes to like half tights, like sports bras and stuff, you want products specifically made for the female bodies.
yeah,
So we are
yeah,
working
makes sense.
working on that. Um, Retail store opening. That's something also we want to we want
So to have your
to
have your
we
own like
want to do.
flagship
Yeah,
in Paris
yeah.
specifically, or who knows?
Paris, but also in the US.
Oh,
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, so we have this growing the team, because of course, we are 25 people
oh my
now.
goodness.
But we will be certainly bigger next year. So yeah, the brand is growing, and that's that's very interesting. Like I like the idea of like building Satisfy as a
Yeah.
you know as a we want to be part of the we want to be when I say like big brand, it's not about like the revenue or it's just we want to be relevant for the
Yeah.
culture, and we
Relevant,
also want
influential. Yeah.
we also I mean influential, and we also want like people to run more people more people to run. When we
Yeah.
receive messages like on Instagram, like, oh, I was not a runner, but then I discovered Satisfy and it made
Hmm.
me want to start to run. That's amazing. That's
Uh-huh. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
best
That's the
thing
best
you
we can
can
hope for.
you can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So I think I hope we can inspire like more and more like people to run, especially more people like from the cities, leaving the city and experiencing the trails. And I think that's
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the one of the goal of Satisfy. And
Yeah.
we've been also exploring some other categories like climbing. Um,
Oh, interesting.
we yeah, I mean, Michael Versti, for example, he's was a climber before being like a
That's
runner,
right.
and
Yeah.
like there is this like a connection between trail runners and climbers, um, and so we've been doing a few like climbing products.
Hmm.
We want to keep trail running as our core,
Yeah.
but being able to explore like activities around like trail running is very could be also like something we do more and more in the
Yeah.
next few years.
As an entrepreneur, does that expanding Satisfy into other categories scratch your entrepreneurial itch, or do you still have a mind that's really hard to quiet and you can't stop thinking about other things? Because you've been doing Satisfy for a long time. It's a long time for an entrepreneur the way that you are. Is your imagination always kind of still, going back to skateboarding, or going into other industries, or is satisfying your brain's ambition right now?
Yes, but also I think I try to build a brand that if I when I will be when I will be dead, I think and I hope that some people will be taking over Satisfy, and I hope Satisfy will like
Nice.
will be like a trans generational brand.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
uh, that that's the idea. I'm not here
Right.
for the one shot. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure that that the brand is like strong and solid enough
Yeah.
to live on.
Yeah. Well, Brice, I know that you need to go see Judas Priest here in a few minutes, but uh, I really appreciate your time and getting to hear about Satisfy. I hope when our family gets to France in September, that we can hang out, and I'll meet you at Obladi Cafe and grab a coffee or something and catch up. But I'm just thankful that you'd even give me this hour of your time today and to share the story of Satisfy and who you are. So thank you.
No, thank you, Josh. It was a real pleasure to be part of Borderlands.
Yeah.
I will be in Arizona, I think, for Cocodona
Oh,
250. So
you
I don't know
will.
if you're yes, every year we have. I mean, every year it will be the second year. We have
Uh-huh.
the Satisfy aid station
Oh, that's
at
right. Do you
Cocodona.
have
Yeah.
anything to do with Floda? Is Floda you?
Yeah, Foda started as a collaboration between us and Outside Magazine.
Oh,
But
oh,
yeah,
interesting.
we created Floda with Outside, and
That's great.
yeah, it's a good product too.
I've got a handful of people that I'm invested in, not financially, just emotionally, that are running Cocodona that I want to go see. So maybe I'll see if I can come down. If so, I'll let you know
Oh
and
yeah,
say hey. But either way, I love that race and I love seeing you satisfied being a part of it.
yeah, and Michael Verstig will be running it actually. That's
Yeah, it sounds like
he
he's really
said
like
yeah,
focused on it and wanting compared to previous
yeah.
years where he just kind of shows up and he won it, that year one. But it's going to be a
Yeah,
competitive field this year. It's going to be a fun race.
yeah. So much can happen on this distance. It's crazy.
Whew. Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll see you at the starting line if I can figure out a way down there.
Yeah,
All right.
cool.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Brice.
Josh.